Before we begin across the perfect pitch, I would like to just give a small background on who is an angel investor or possibly this HNI whom you are pitching across.
This is The Startup Show, a community-driven startup podcast by Bizztor, which allows you to listen to your favorite entrepreneurs so that you can make your own startup grow much quicker. Be a part of this great conversation. Stay with us.
So typically angel investors work in a network or they are part of a group and they try to engage across in a group way rather than a venture capitalist who would be working across individually or leading the deal as a fund. But the difference between an angel investor and the VC is that angel investor invests its own money, while VCs will invest money of other people through its fund. So they are a proper fund manager and they are paid fees for doing it. Whereas the angel investor puts its own money and tries to engage across with startup. Definitely for returns, but they are passionate about helping entrepreneurs and they want to address those startup or entrepreneurial needs because of their domain expertise, what they have. Basic idea for angel investment is basically commitment of money, time, expertise, and network. That's the key what an angel investor would provide. So if you get check or money, or if you are pitching to a person who is just going to write you a passive check, that's not a great investment or investor to have across on board. So you need to find that smart money or investors who will help across with the right amount of face time. So let's start with slide 1, team. Who are you? Make the words relevant. Include advisors, consultants if they make you larger and impressive. Okay to show up with less than perfect team. All teams have holes. But important issue is that you are willing to fill that gap and you are aware about there is a gap. So mention across that. Unmet need, second slide. What is the unmet need? What problem you are solving across, right? You should be able to get everyone in the room nodding their head in agreement, right? When you are trying to sell what problem you are able to solve. Minimize lot of data from analyst and consulting companies, like, you will have, X research, Y data points. Investors sit on top of the market, right? I mean, if you are going to run me through because internet is growing so fast, because mobile, growth is so high, don't go through those jargons. It's not required. Describe problem people connect with. Investors should be able to connect the problem and some customer example. If you are able to do that in the second slide, unmet need. Third, target market and segmentation. What is your target market? Which silver which you will own and why? What is the market size? What are the market dynamics? Are there any new regulation, new technology, new players? The whole idea about the slide 3 is about what market you will operate onto, right? That gives a confidence for a lot of the investors. Fourth, market dynamics and competition. Complete view of competitive landscape. More the better. This has to be a busy slide. You should know who your competition is, right? Never dismiss your competition. Investors, even your customers, everybody would like to know why you are better than your competition and not why your competition is bad. Never put your competition in bad light, but highlight why you are better. And one of the biggest takeaway which I would like to give to all founders is never say that you have no competition. If there is an automation which you are doing across and people have been doing in manual, there is some way the task was getting performed. So never say that you have no competition. Fifth, your solution. What's the solution you are giving across? What's your product? And make sure that your investors understand it very clearly. What you sell, what's your value proposition. This is not a place for in-depth technical description. Just a small gist of how. Avoid, too much heavy text into it, right? Uh, if you can give a live demo, nothing like it. That's the best stuff which can work across. Sixth slide. What's your unfair advantage? What's that moat? How are you going to protect yourself and be the winner? You know, what is that secret sauce, the magic behind the product? What are the special partnerships which you have, or relationship with any big company? You know, what's your unfair advantage? Why will you make those profits or grow across? Seventh slide. Business model. How will you make money? Who pays you? What channels? What are your gross margins? Many of the founders don't even have any metrics in terms of how are they going to make money. It's very difficult. Then eighth slide, go to market and sales strategy. How will you reach your first 10 customers, your 100 customers? Marketing leverage points. What alliances you will need? What are the distribution in place, right? You have built a great product, but don't know how to sell. It's not going to work. End of the day, it has to be consumed by. So what is the, if you're building great content, what's your method of content distribution? If you're building a great consumer brand, what's your distribution channel, right? So convince investors that you have an effective go-to-market strategy. Most of the time, execution people just create a spreadsheet saying that, okay, we will have 20% growth month on month, and just extend that Excel cells. That's not how it works across in reality. So you need to work on real go-to-market sales and strategy. Financial projections and key metrics, right? That's a ninth slide, the second last slide. What are the key metrics? What are the assumptions? Customers, installation, licenses, 3 to 5 years projections, take in account of extended sales cycle. So typically you would have taken across 2 months, try to put in 4 months kind of stuff. See, your hurry to sell a product is not the same speed at which your customer buys. Your timelines to sell a product is very different than customer timelines to buy a product. So there is always going to be a gap. And how have you arrived at those assumptions? Do you have some historic data? If not, do you have a benchmark data saying that this financial projections will hold true, kind of? And that's where you arrive across saying that how much money you will need for next 18 to 24 months. Never build a 12 months plan. And finally, 10th slide, the last slide, is status and timeline. What is your current status? What are the accomplishment to date? Last 6 months, what are the timelines for next major milestones over next 18 months? How money will be used? And here you can show across key metric in terms of number of employee growth, customer, geography growth. So all those stuff which you can work across. This is in nutshell what I wanted to give a brief. Hopefully it answers across many of the questions which are there.